The Pac-12, or also known as the Conference of Champions. It's been around since 1915 and was known as the Pacific Coast Conference. Due to recent events, Washington State University is in a tough situation. Because of the realignment, some sports here have questions, what's next? And also knowing some athletes could leave at any given time due to name, image, and likeness. I got the opportunity to speak through email with Raquel Atawal. If you don't know her, she's the head tennis coach at Washington State University. I asked her who the Cougars will be playing next season, and she had this to say. At the moment, it looks like their schedule is undecided, as who knows who the Cougs will be playing in tennis this next season. I then followed up with a question on her opinion about NIL, and I received nothing back. Then I spoke to Steve Yen.
Yeah, I'm women's golf strength and conditioning coach. The golf team's in a unique position because most of the things that they play are all tournaments, so there's a bunch of mixed schools that come into that conference and out of conference, and so the only thing that might really change is usually there's like a Pac-12 preview and a Pac-12 conference, and obviously that's not going to exist anymore, and so that's still up in the air, but they're going to have a regular tournament throughout the fall and spring as scheduled, because most of the time for golf it's a unique sport where you play multiple schools all at once, up to 20 different schools. So
then I asked him about his opinion on NIL, and he had a lot to say.
I've seen it really help people, especially with athletes that using NIL for how it was really created. I've seen some athletes who created their own products or apps that it's gone really good for them to be able to excel in other things, not just their sport. But I think what you're really seeing now is NIL as a way of buying athletes and putting them on teams and pedestals of being paid, and I think that can get really difficult. The difficult part is there's always a certain time period where someone can enter in the transfer portal and do NIL deals, but and I don't want to judge anybody or anything like that, but I think sometimes things are coming way sooner than they should be, and so by even mid-season for certain sports, athletes may even know where they might potentially transfer and get funding, so that's very good. So I think that makes it very hard. I think I come from an era where when you're a college athlete and you get a free education and all the clothes and shoes you want, that's good enough. But I guess these days you're going to have athletes that make a lot more money, which in turn really it makes it hard to have a sustainable program. You can't have your same core athletes on your team because many of them transfer out because of money. And it's hard to build that consistency and that senior leadership when you have that happening. So I think that's a very difficult part of it.
And then, of course, my final question. What will happen with the Cougars?
Immediate future is there's going to be a grace period where we just wait it out. We're going to wait it out and see what we can do. And the temporary thing is to merge with the Mountain West right now. I don't know what's going to happen after that, because a lot of people, even in this initial year, all our Pac-12 teams moving to different conferences, they're going to have to reassess all that too. But my hope is that we do get picked up by a big conference, but I think the likelihood of us trying to rebuild the Pac brand might be more likely. So, yeah.
And finally, for my last resource, a Cougar fan, but not just any Cougar fan.
My name is Thomas Arend, and I am the social media manager for Zoo Crew. I run their Twitter account and help out with their Instagram a little bit as well.
I then asked Thomas about his opinion on NIL and if he's heard anything through Zoo Crew.
The gap between WSU and, let's say, our fellows on the other side of the mountains in purple and gold, their NIL stuff with the donations they have, it's just a huge gap between the two. So it's tough for WSU to be competitive in the NIL, but I've heard that it's up and rising and there are good things to come.
And of course, last but not least, what's new for WSU?
WSU has said that they are going to kind of merge with the Mountain West for this upcoming season. For football, at least, they haven't came out with a full schedule. So we're going to be playing a lot of Mountain West teams. Boise State's in that league, or I guess conference. Who's in there? Boise, Fresno State, San Jose State. There's quite a bit of good football teams in there. So I think we're going to be just fine. And WSU fans, they're always diehard. They love the Cougs. So I think as long as WSU keeps showing up to games and they keep caring about games and they watch them on TV, then WSU is going to be just fine. It's going to be a place that people are still wanting to go to school.